Hi, so today we're going to work on our color wheel, and so I'm going to take you through the steps, and that's a very useful exercise, also just like doing the color guide on your palette that we did earlier. The color wheel is going to tell you a lot about what the colors will do on your palette. So let's get started. So to do a color wheel, first we need to get the circle, and we're going to end up with a color wheel like this one here. So I find it easiest to use one of these circles that you can buy in any office supply store. And the first thing we're going to do is place it on our paper, and I just have a scrap piece of paper here. This one is 300 pound, but you can do it on whatever paper you paint on, I would suggest. So line it up nicely, and then the first thing you want to do is mark the center, because we're going to use that point later. And then you just do a circle with a pencil, and once you have that and you have your center, then we need 12 slices of pie, so to speak. And a full circle is 360 degrees, so that means that every slice of pie is going to be 30 degrees. So if you start where it says 0 or 180, and then you go to 30, 60, 90, and then we go to 120, and then 1, 2, 3, 150, 1, 2, 3, 180, and then 1, 2, 3, 210, 1, 2, 3, 240, 1, 2, 3, 270, 1, 2, 3, 300, and 330, and then we're by 360 or 0, back to 0. So got those marks out. So you got your center mark, and you got your little mark for every 30 degrees. Alright, so we got our marks in. I don't know if you can see them. I feel like I'm teaching geometry and not painting, but it's important that they're lined up correctly, otherwise the color wheel is going to be off. So then I just start drawing my lines through the middle from one mark to another mark, and the reason we have to have that middle mark is that we want to make sure that it goes through there. So that was line number 1, and then I can just move 30 degrees and go through the center and draw my lines like this. Okay, and I'm going to be back once I've done that. Okay, I finished my lines, so now I have 12 slices of pie, and that's the beginning of our color wheel. Alright, I got all my grids made here on the color wheel. I got my French Ultramarine Blue, my Quinacrodone red, and my transparent yellow squeezed out on my palette. And as you can see, I've given myself a couple of, actually 3 wells for each color, just that way I don't have to go back and mix more puddles as I go. The idea is that we only use the 3 primary colors, and those are the ones I consider my primary colors on my palette. If you only have those 3 primary colors, if you're just starting out, this will be an excellent guide. And if you have other colors, you can make more color wheels. But the idea is that you only use the 3 primary colors for each color wheel. And then if you want to switch out one of the primary colors, don't don't switch out 2 at a time. Switch out 1 at a time. So switch out, for instance, I could switch out, instead of having quinacrodone red, maybe I wanted to try and see what color mixes I would get if I used my permanent rose instead for my red. And that would switch everything over on the color wheel that I would be painting, and all of a sudden I'd have really great purples, but then probably my oranges wouldn't be all that fabulous. And the same with the blues and the yellow. So I can show you some samples of that later, but let's get started. First, I use masking tape, and you don't have to do that if you have a steady hand and you're good at straight lines, but yours truly, she's not great at straight lines. So I am going to carefully mask out one of these slices of, I call it a pie, of the color wheel, one of the sections, I guess. So, and I press it down really good because I would like to not have any bleeding underneath if I can help it. All right, so there's that. And then I'm going to start with the yellow. And what I like to do, just like when I did the guide on my palette lid, start out with full strength and I water it down. And I want to do the same thing on my color wheel. I want to get as much information as I can. So I'm going to take some clean water and I'm going to put it in the first, maybe halfway up, the third to halfway up. I'm just going to put a little water in. Can you see? A little shiny there. And then I'm going to take my yellow that I already have mixed out here, and I am going to, carefully start painting this slice here with my yellow. And I'm just going to go like this, and pretty soon I should be hitting the water. Yeah, there it is. And because I want to go full strength and then water it down as I go down into the narrow part of this slice. And I try to do it as smooth as possible. That's another good exercise, just to try and see if you can do that. And there's that. There. So that was slice number 1, the yellow. And I'm going to take this off right away because I feel that when I do that, I get less seepage for some reason. There we go. So see how nice that looks? Straight lines. And I got a nice gradation from full strength down to a lighter. I'm very happy with that. So the next primary color is going to be 3 spaces away. So 1, 2, 3, and then this would be the next one, either red or blue. That's, doesn't matter how you do that. So let's see if I can get that without getting into my yellow. So here's 1. Really, really press it down good. And then the other one, see if we can get that without getting into the yellow. If I do this kind of like this, should be able to, hopefully, do that like this. Can I do it? I don't want to mess up that nice yellow that I just managed to paint. So here, press it down really, 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 really good. And go on the other side there. And then need to rinse out my brush very, very well, because the yellow here, as we learned when we did the color guide, it's actually a staining color. So you can see I have to go on my towel a whole bunch of times before I get that yellow out. Still not out of my brush. Jeez, it's just really stubborn. Just use my spray bottle. think. Yeah, now I'm good. All right. No, I'm not. Look at that. Can you see that? It's just amazing. It's really stubborn. So I'm just going to put that brush aside and just use another brush. Same thing here. I want to get a little bit of water in the first third to a half of this area, and then go in. I think I might go with the red. So here's my Quinacrodone red. Mix that around really good. So get good full strength color. And I start up here where it's dry. Follow that circle and that curve. Full strength. And I can see here I'm already running into the water that I put down. And now I want to get a little bit of the color off. A little bit more of the color off. Most of the color off. There. I think that's good enough. I just want to see if I can kind of just soak up a little bit there. Alright, so I'll do the exact same thing. I'll get this tape off as soon as possible. But careful so that you don't rip your paper. There. And here, hopefully I didn't mess up anything. No, I didn't. Good. So far so good. And then we just need the third primary color on, which is the blue. So I'm going to put that over here. Because we need 3 spaces in between, so there's 3 on this side and 3 on that side. And now I might have to let those 2 others dry before I can do that. So I'm going to turn the camera off and then get back to you. Alright, so I got the tape on 3 spots away from the yellow and 3 spots away from the red. So that's for my French Ultramarine Blue. And just going to mix that up. I want to make sure that it's full strength. I might steal a little bit from over here. Alright, so there's that mixed up. And I need to put a little bit of water. In the meantime, I cleaned out this yellow brush that was so stubborn. Put some water down here, about halfway up. And then let's get the French Ultramarine Blue in here. Full strength out here, the edge, and then work its way down. And I can already tell I'm hitting the water here. Can you see how it's just flowing down nicely? Take some of the pigment off. A little bit more pigment off. And there it is. Might want to strengthen it just a little bit up here. I always try to get it as smooth as possible. Sometimes I don't succeed. Alright, I'm happy with that. And then right away, let's get that tape off so nothing creeps under. And there we have our 3 primary colors. Okay, so my 3 primary colors are dry, and I put some pieces of tape on a couple of the little areas where I'm going to put the next color on. So on the blue side, so to speak, of the red, I'm going to take Quinacrodone red and put a little bit of French Ultramarine Blue in, so I'll get like a reddish purple, because that would be the next step as we're moving towards blue from the red. So let me do that. First of all, I'm going to do like I've done in the other ones. I'm going to put a little bit of water in here, and I've got to be a little careful up against the red. I could mask it out against the red too. This time I'm going to try and see if I can do one straight line. We'll see how I do with that. Otherwise I might change my mind. Most of the time I just mask it out on both sides, but I've had problems with seepage in the past towards the color side, so I'm going to try this approach. Alright, so here are my puddles. So here's a red puddle, and just get all that pigment diluted there. So that's pretty good full strength quinacridone red. And then I'm going to take one of my other brushes and I'm going to take a little bit of the French Ultramarine Blue and put it out here. And then I'm going to put a little bit of the blue in there. So this is mainly red, but a little bit of blue. I think that's about the right color. So that would be a red purple, a reddish purple or reddish violet, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to do exactly like I did before. Carefully follow the curve here. Full strength. And here I got to be a little careful. Let's see how I do on that. Straight line down. And a little bit more. And now I can feel I'm hitting the water. So here. Bring it down, and now it's going to get a little diluted, and that's what I'm after, seeing the full range of this reddish purple that I'm creating with mixing my French Ultramarine Blue, primary blue, with my primary red on my palette, which is a Quinacrodone red. And there we have it. Let's try and lift it out just a little bit to get that lighter color. There, that turned out pretty good. So there we can see that would be the reddish or deep, reddish purple that we would get, or deep red. And let me take this off right away so nothing creeps under. And that was step one. Now the next step on here will be I'll use that same puddle, but I'll put more blue in. So that I get a true purple, and then in that one I'll put even more blue in for this area, and that would be a bluish violet or bluish purple. But you know, you can't paint two areas next to each other if one area is still wet. I mean, you can, but then they're going to run together and you're losing the whole point of this. So we're not going to go there. So instead, I have marked out on the other side of the red. I have marked out or put a tape on towards the yellow. So here I'll do a red and put a little bit of yellow in, just like here I put a little bit of blue in. So let's try that out. First I'm going to try and see if I can put a little bit of water down about halfway. Be careful here by the edge. Help me get a straight edge here. A little bit more water here. About halfway down. Seems to work best. And then I'm going to take a new pure red puddle. I think I'll use this one here. Full strength red. And it's going to be mainly red and just a little bit of yellow, because we're still closest to the red, furthest away from the yellow. And I'm again going to take another brush. This one's clean, yeah, it's clean. And I'm going to grab a little bit of this yellow over here. And I'm going to put it here. I don't put it, as you can see, I put it next to, I don't put it right in, just in case I misjudged how much I need it. So here I'm going to mix them together, and I'm getting kind of like a fire engine red. So I think I need maybe a tad more yellow. So I'm going to take a little bit more yellow here and just kind of deposit it there and get a little bit more of that in. There, I think that's about right. So that's more like a fire engine red. It's orangey red, and that's what we're after. So let's see. Put that in here, careful. full strength up here. And I've got to be a little careful here down along the side of the true red, Quinacrodone red. Pull it down like this. A little bit more this way. And now I'm hitting that water, taking a little bit of the pigment off my brush so I get that nice gradation that I'm after. It's a very good exercise, as I'm sure you can almost imagine, you know, and it shows you a lot about the colors. Take off a little bit more of that pigment. And now I think it's time to kind of rinse it out a little bit so we can get that really light color out in the tip. Try to get all the way over to the red. There, I think that's pretty good. I'm kind of a little, you know, I don't know, trying to be precise, but it's not in my nature. But I like it precise. So a little bit of that color out so we get that nice. Yeah. So there you can see, and now we can see how you created a much more reddish, no, not reddish, but orangey red. So you can get that fire engine red from Quinacrodone red by putting a little hint of the transparent yellow in. All right, so we'll go to the next one. So the next area that I have prepared is this one next to the yellow going towards the blue. Oops, I forgot I wanted to take this off right away, just in case. Don't want to get any seepage. And I can see I didn't even put the tape on very accurately. Can you see that? So I'll have to erase that line. It'll still work out just fine. All right, so I have the yellow. So the main color is going to be yellow. It's closest to the yellow. I'm going to put a little bit of water in the tip here. Carefully following the line of the yellow. About halfway down, like we've done with the others. A little bit more water in here. There we go. All right, and then I need to put just a hint of blue in that yellow. So let's grab some of the French Ultramarine Blue over here, and I'm going to deposit some here on the side. A little bit more, I think. We'll see. And then I'm going to take the yellow and put a little bit of that blue in. I think this is about right, because I'm going for a yellow blue, so mostly yellow and a little bit of blue. So we get a very yellow blue color. So again, sorry, I just want to make sure you can see. And so that would be here, start full strength, up here, follow that curve. And so you can see it's already, you know, it's green, but it's very yellow green. It's like a spring green. It's not super duper bright. And that is because our French Ultramarine Blue actually leans a little bit towards the red. And red and green are complementary colors, and when you mix them together, they neutralize each other. So that's why this is not going to be super bright. It's a little bit on the olivish green side, I would say. So now I just get a little bit more of the pigment out so we can pull it down here. Very light green. And let's rinse that out. And I think I want to pull out just a hint. Try and see if I can get it even lighter down here. There. So you can see as I'm pulling it out, it's more of the yellow showing through. But that is because of the different qualities of the yellow and the blue. The yellow being a transparent color, and my blue, French Ultramarine Blue, being a semi-transparent granulating color. The pigments of the blue are bigger, the little particles are bigger than the pigment particles of the yellow. Alright, and I will take this one off right away so nothing creeps under, hopefully. There we go. And then I have to wait for that to dry, and then I can continue with the other colors. Alright, so my areas have dried. So I have my red here. On this side I put a little yellow in. On this side I put a little blue in, French Ultramarine Blue. And here I have my transparent yellow. On this side of it towards the blue I put a little bit of blue in, so I got that kind of olivey light green, I would call it. Now I have this area next to the red where I put a little yellow in, so I have a kind of a more orangey red, and then here right in the middle between the yellow and the true red, so transparent yellow and quinacrodone red, I will have my orange. So we are going to put a little water in the tip, follow this line halfway down about, and here is the mixture that I made for where I had the red, and I put a tiny bit of yellow in. Now I need to put more yellow in to get to true orange, so I have my yellow over here, and let's put that in, see how we're doing. Yeah, we're better, but I think I need a little bit more yellow to make it a true orange. So go over here, get some more yellow, and just kind of scoot it off like that. That's more like it. I think that's a nice true orange. And just like we did before, we start up here. And carefully follow that circle or curve. And on the one side I have my tape to help me stay on the straight and narrow, and here I gotta concentrate. There we go. So far so good. And as you can see, I always turn my paper around so that it makes it as easy as possible for me. I'm just depositing a little bit more for me to get to the area I want to paint without putting my hands in wet paint and stuff like that. So here we go, a little bit more down. Now I'm hitting the water that I deposited. Take a little bit of the pigment out of my brush so I can get that nice gradation that I'm after. More out of my brush. I think I need to put a little bit more water on my tip here. Back on the paper. There we go. Connect those. And then on this last one, I'm just going to rinse out my brush. And then I dabbed it so that it's not dripping wet, and then I can just kind of pull that pigment all the way down. There we have it. Lift it up just a little bit. There. So there you can see, I hope, we got quinacrodone red with a little bit of transparent yellow in it, so we have kind of an orangey red, then we have orange, and then on this one here we're going to have a yellow orange. We can have mostly yellow with a little bit of red. And here I have an area next to the blue that's moving towards the red, so that would be blue with a tiny bit of red in it. And gotta rinse my brushes out really well. I think I need to take a fresh brush here. So here's the blue. Oops, you can see. I can move this. Just see there's a tip of this thing going in. So I want to take this off right away. Boom. And get a little bit of clean water down here in the tip, where it's going to be bluish purple, because it's closest to blue, but it's moving towards the red. So it's going to be a bluish purple. So I have a blue puddle here. Need to make it a little bit more, less watery. Going to get a little bit more of my French Ultramarine. Ultramarine Blue. All right, I think that's good. And then I can actually take a little bit of this. That was that reddish purple that I had made, where it was mainly red and a little bit of blue, and now I want the exact opposite. I want mainly blue with a little bit of red. So let's see. There. I think we're pretty close. That's exactly what we're after. Like this. All right. So, same thing again. Follow the curve here. Go down a little bit. Can you see how dark it is? It's because, you know, we're mixing the two of the darkest colors, the red and the blue, on our palette so far. There. That's a nice violet. Mainly blue, bluish purple. Try and see if I can be fairly straight. And then take some of the pigment off. I'm hitting that area where I put the water down. So start getting to the lighter shades. And take some more off. So go down. Here we go. Take even more off. And now we're running into nice water. So there. Got that pretty good. All right. I like that. Nice transition. And there you can see. I'll take this tape off right away so don't get in trouble. There. See how nice that is, and see how that's, you know, definitely purple compared to the French Ultramarine Blue, and it's much more blue purple than the reddish purple here, where we're closer to the red. And then in here goes the true purple, or yeah, true purple. But we can't get to that yet. However, I can go on the other side of the blue towards the yellow. So that would be blue with, mainly blue with a little hint of yellow in it. And let's see. Yeah, this brush has been in the yellow before. So I'll take my blue puddle over there. Actually looks like I need some more blue. In spite of the fact I made myself 3 puddles, I'm still feeling that I'm running out. Alright, French Ultramarine Blue, here we are. And it's going to be mainly blue. And it's going to have a little bit of yellow in, so I can grab some of this yellow over here that already had a little blue in it and just put a little tiny bit. Very little. I think I need even more blue. See, the thing is that the transparent yellow seems to be a stronger color. It has more pigment power than the French Ultramarine Blue, so I really only need a hint of the transparent yellow to add to that French Ultramarine Blue before it goes green. So let's put that down here, the water. Here did it opposite with my tape, so we'll see how that goes. Alright, so we're closest to the blue, so we're moving towards the yellow, so we have a bluish green. Look how beautiful that is. That really is doing a very good job, I think. Those two colors together, they are very, very believable for landscapes and things like that. Those, it's almost like those blue spruce. Could be painted with this color. Put a little bit more blue in it, and it would be ideal. Get some of the pigment off now that I'm hitting the water part. And I'm just dragging it down. Getting that nice, hopefully, transition. And a little bit more pigment off. And now I'm hitting that water, so I think we can get a nice transition here. There. All right, and right away, let me pick this off. So I don't get any creepage underneath the tape. Oh, was not very precise with that, was I now? It's my constant struggle. So I put a little tiny bit of that color on my tip and see if I can kind of get rid of this white area. Not that it matters, but it matters to me. So here we go. Just get rid of that little white area. There. If I did this with a brush that was too wet, I would get a bloom now, but at least I got that right, I think. There. Okay. You see? And now we gotta wait. We have 3 more areas left, and what we have left is the true green, true purple, and then yellow orange, because we already got the true orange there.